Hey folks, it's Dave here, and tonight I'm looking at a new hockey game that I'm playing called Kill the Power Play by Roberto Chiavini. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly. He's over in Italy right now, and he's locked in his house and has been for quite some time. But if you go to sportsreplays.net, he's got his own page there, sportsreplays.net. Look on the left-hand side for his name, Roberto Chiavini. Click on that, and it'll come to his page, and he's got a whole slew of quick play games, things you wouldn't even think of. He's got on this site. So, of course, I grabbed the ones I liked. I grabbed the hockey. I grabbed one of his football games, American football games, and I grabbed one of his golf games. Tonight, I'm going to look at the hockey game. Now, in full disclosure, I may or may not be playing this correctly. I just started playing this tonight, and I just wanted to share this with you. So if I'm not playing it correctly, I apologize. I tried to read the directions and follow it the best I could. So if I'm not playing it correctly, point out what I'm doing wrong, okay? But this is so much fun. This really is. And I found that there's 4 different ways you can play this game, okay? And if you've played any of the Final Score games by Downey, this plays very similar to that. It really does. So let's dive right into Kill the Power Play here. Okay, so I'm playing the 1970-71 Yearbook, it's called, and I've taken the Chicago Blackhawks and the Montreal Canadiens, which are the teams that went to the finals that year. Okay, so now, first thing we got to do is we look at our attack and our defense for each team, and that's kind of how this works here. So our attack is N, and our defense is I. For the Montreal Canadiens, our attack is O, and our defense is K, okay? And as in most quick play games with the final score type of situation, the quick sims, you take your attack and compare it to the opponent's defense, okay? So we're at N, and we're going to look to K. So it's 1, 2, 3. So what this game tells you to do is count how many letters are between. There's 3 letters, and then you cut that in half, okay? That gives 1.5. If you're going to the left, you round up to the next whole number, which is 2. So we went 1, 2, 3, cut it in half. It's 1.5. It rounds up to 2 if we're going down, okay? So 2 is L. So our modification offense, or modified offense, is column L for Chicago. For Montreal, we go from O to K. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, O to I. It's I, my bad. O to I. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 letters in between. Cut it in half is 3. We don't have to worry about any rounding. So we go back to O and go 1, 2, 3. So modified column L. So right now, if I did that correctly, both teams will be rolling off of column L. And then you have a scoring table, which comes in the directions. And you roll 2 6-sided dice to determine the goal scored. Chicago, I determined to be the away team, so I like to roll the away team first. So let's roll here on Ball Roller and see what we get. So we have just rolled a 5. So column L, 5 is 2 goals for Chicago. So we got 2 goals to Chicago. Now Montreal rolls. They roll a 6 in column L, and that is 2 goals as well. So we have a tie. So if this was regular season in 70-71, it would be called a tie and we'll be done. However, if you want to determine a winner with overtime, let's say this was playoffs, what you do is you go to the Killer Instinct column, okay? And Chicago has a 0 Killer Instinct. Montreal is -1, okay? So what we need to do is we roll 2 10-sided dice, and Montreal will subtract 1 from their 10-sided dice. And the winner of that roll gets the 3rd goal in overtime. So what I've done here is I have 2 10-sided dice underneath. I have a red 10-sided dice and a white 10-sided dice. Chicago is away, so they will be the red. Montreal is home. They will be white. So we're going to roll the dice. And Chicago rolls a 10. Montreal rolls a 5. Now, remember, we subtract 1 from Montreal, so they would be a 4. It wouldn't matter anyway. So Chicago, by virtue of rolling the 10 to the 5 -1, 4, Chicago would win this game 3-2 in overtime. So that's how you would use the basic mode, and that's even including overtime. Another mode to play is the 3rd die. He loves to put in the 3rd die in his games as a modifier. And what the 3rd die does is if you roll a dice, and I'll explain in 1 second what happens with that, and you roll 10-sided dice on a 3rd die table, okay? And you can subtract goals from the opponent. you can add goals to your score, or you can increase the column that you roll your goals for, or you can decrease your opponent's column. So rolling off the third die table is usually a positive effect. There's one die number that is no effect, but for the most part, it's going to be to your advantage. So let's set this up again. Chicago is N, I, and none of this changes. Okay, this is all the same. So O, K, and L. So remember, it was N to K, so 1, 2, 3. Cut in half is 1.5, but we round down to 2. So 1, 2 is L. And Montreal was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cutting that in half is 3. 1, 2, 3. So we get to L. So it's the same formula as we did here. So now the third die. What I've done here is set up my dice. But let me talk about what happens here. So 3S. This is the third die roll. S is regular season. And what you do is you roll a 10-sided dice in the regular season. And this is the number that you need to get. So Chicago needs 1 to 5. And Montreal also needs 1 to 5. So there's a 50% chance we're going to roll the third die table for both of these guys. In the playoffs, you roll a 6-sided die. And look at these guys here. Wow. A 1 to 4 out of a 1 to 6 roll. So they have a super chance, each of them, of getting this die roll in the playoffs. So just for kicks, I'm going to say that they both rolled enough. So I got my dice here. So if I roll the dice here, okay, I rolled an 8, but that's over 5, so that wouldn't work. But let's just say I rolled a 2. So Chicago will roll off the third die. So let's roll again. Number 9. Number 9 for Chicago says shift your modified attack column by 6. That's really good. Okay, so we're going to modify by 6. So if Chicago's an L, we're going to modify by 6 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are rolling from column T right now. So that's our new modification roll after the third die comes into effect. Now let's roll for Montreal. They roll a 6, which is fantastic. A 6 says add 3 goals to your score. So Montreal is going to add 3 to their score. Chances are Montreal is going to win this game. Their modification didn't change. They're still an L. So let's roll for Chicago now. So they're rolling off of column T because of the third die roll. So we're going to roll Chicago, column T. Let me go back to my goals chart. So they roll a 4 off of column T. A 4 off of column T is 4 goals. So Chicago scores 4 goals. Okay? And there's no other modification, so their final is 4. So let's roll for Montreal now. Montreal is rolling off of column L. I rolled a 5. Column L, 5 is 2 goals. However, because we have the third die modifier of 3, that gives Montreal a 5-4 win. So the third die can be huge, especially if you're playing a bad team. So let's say the bad team rolled that add 3. That would definitely get them back in the game. Okay, so if you were playing the Seals or somebody like that, you would need to get that third die happening. Although, if I look at the chart here, the Seals, yeah, it's a 1. Their third die roll is 1 for both, so chances are low you'd get it. But anyway, that's how you do that. Okay, so there's how you incorporate the third die. So that's the second way to play. Another way to play is with power plays. Okay, now when you're doing the power plays, instead of using the attack, you need to use the modified attack. So that would be, K. The defense is still I. And the Montreal modified attack is G. And their defense is K. So now let's take a look and figure out the formula to get our modified attack. K and K, there's no change. So Chicago, there's no change, so they will remain K. Montreal is a G, and if they go to I, so they actually improve. Okay, so they go 1, 2. So you cut that in half, it's 1. So Montreal moves up from G to H. Okay, so this is where we'll be rolling now off of these columns, K and H. Now, as far as power play goes, look at this up here, power play for, power play against. You do the same thing as you did with the attack and the defend. You go down and across to check it out. Okay, so power play for is 0 or O, and the power play against is P. So it goes up 1, you cut it in half, you round down, so no effect at all. So it's going to be Chicago is rolling on column O. Montreal is O. They're going against a power play against of O, so there's no change. So that is O. So if these numbers, let's just say that was a T, let's say. So you would go O to T, be 1, 2, 3, cut it in half, it'd be 1. So now you would bump that up to P, okay? So you're doing the same thing with the power play for and the opponent's power play against as you did with the attack and the defend. That gives you a number. Okay, so what you do now is on the scoring table, okay, you look at column O, and we're going to roll 2d6 on the scoring table. That's not going to give us goals. That's going to give us power play opportunities. So let's roll here for Chicago. Chicago rolls an 11. Column L is 4. So Chicago has 4 power play opportunities to score. Montreal now, same thing off of column O, 8. And 8 gives us 3. All right, so now you can do one of two things. You can roll your power plays first, or you can roll your modification to see how many goals they get first. So you're going to put in goals and then power play goals and get you the final score, okay? So let's do the goals first. So in row K for Chicago, we're going to row K. An 8 is 2 goals. So Chicago scores 2 regular strength goals. Montreal is rolling from column H. Column H is 10. That's 2 goals. So Montreal has scored 2 goals. So now we go to the power play opportunities. And this is where actually home ice advantage comes into play. So what we're going to do is Chicago has 4 power play opportunities. You look at the power play percentage and your power play penalty kill. So what's going to happen here is Chicago is going to roll power play first. If they get a 21 or less, they score. Anything else, they don't score. The second roll will be against Montreal's penalty kill. So they need an 86. So if you're rolling your power play, you can get that number. If you're rolling on the PK, you need to beat that number. So they need 86 to 100. Then they would, and you alternate that. So you go power play, your power play, opponent penalty kill. Your power play, opponent penalty kill, okay? The only time that changes, and this is where home ice comes in. See how Montreal has 3. So Montreal would roll their power play first, then the opponent's penalty kill. But because it's an odd number, the home team on an odd number gets to roll the final one as on their power play. If this was the away team, if Montreal was away, they would roll on the opponent penalty kill. So that's really the only home ice advantage I've seen in the game. So to follow, if Montreal was away, they would roll their power play. Second roll would be Chicago penalty kill, and third roll would be Chicago penalty kill. If I'm reading the directions correctly, that's how that would be. But because they're home, they can have their odd roll as their power play, which is a greater chance. You can see it's 1 to 25, whereas up here they only have a 15 out of 100 to get it. So let's roll our power play goals, shall we? And how that is done is by the percentage. So, okay, I don't even need this. I'm just going to go on the percentage. So this is my numbers here, my 10s and my 1s. So Chicago's got 4 chances. So first off, 21 or less, and they score on the power play. No, a 63 is not a power play goal. So now we roll on the Montreal penalty kill, an 86 or higher. Yes, so Chicago scores 1 power play goal so far. So now we're on roll 3. We go back to the 21. No. And now our 4th power play attempt is the 85 or higher, 86 or higher. No. So they get 1 power play goal. So their final is 3 goals. Montreal has 3 power play chances. So we start with the Montreal power play, 25 or less. Here we go. It's a 94. No. So now we go to the Chicago penalty kill. So they need 85 or higher. Yes, they did. So Montreal gets 1 on the power play. Now their final attempt, because they're home and it's an uneven amount, they can roll on their home power play. 98 is way above that. So it's a 3-3 final. And again, if you wanted to go to overtime, you would use the killer instinct here. And remember, Montreal subtracts 1. So if Chicago is red and Montreal is white and we roll, Montreal has a 10. It would be 9, so it would be a tie. So we would roll again. Because, again, this is a 10, but Montreal subtracts 1. So if we did it here, Chicago would get a 3. Montreal would be a 1. So Chicago would win in overtime if we played overtime. Okay, so that's how you would do the power play. So we got the basic mode, which is a straight-up offense-defense. We have the third die, offense-defense, add the third die. And now we've got offense-defense in the power play. So let's put it all together in one big basket here with everything he has to offer. So our modified amount is letter is gonna stay the same. So we get K, and we get I, and K. That doesn't change from over here. Okay, so we don't even need to calculate that again because we've already calculated that. Okay, third die roll. I'm gonna say that they got the third die just so we can kind of see it all in action. Okay, so again, regular season 3S is regular season. That's a 10-sided dice. Playoffs is the P column here, and it's a 6-sided dice. I'm going to just assume that they both rolled successfully just so I can add it in. So over here, this gold one is my 10-sided dice. So an 8. Shift your modified attack column by 4. So Chicago K adds 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. O. Okay, so they're O. So they add 4. So we've added 4. So 1, 2, 3. So O. So now let's see what Montreal rolls. Montreal rolls a 5. Add 2 goals to your score. So they get 2 goals. That is huge. Their modifier remains H. Okay, now let's take a look at power play opportunities. Now, we already determined that the power play letter for each team is O. That's not going to change because, remember, it was O to P. There's no change in O to O. So power play is O. And let's take a look at how many opportunities we get. So we need to go to the scoring table. So we're going to roll the 2d6 for Chicago first. And an 11. That's really good again. That's 4. So Chicago gets 4 power play opportunities. Now I'm going to roll for Montreal. Column O again. A 9. 9 is really good too. And 9 is 4 opportunities too. So they each have 4 power play opportunities, okay? Let's start with the goals. I like to do that first. So on column O, we're going to roll for Chicago's even strength goals. A 14. So 5. Sorry, I'm getting tired. It's late. A 5 in column O is 3. So Chicago scores 3 goals, even strength. Montreal in column H rolls a 3. That's not very good. It's only 1. But we add 2 goals. Remember that? Because of the third die. So Montreal rolls 1 goal, but we add 2, so that gets them to 3 as well. So right now we have a tie game because of the modified 2 goals here. Now we go to the power play goals. Each team has 4 attempts. Again, 10-sided dice, the 10s and the 1s. And we're going to go power play, penalty kill, power play, penalty kill, okay, because it's even. We don't have to worry about any home ice advantage here. So 21 or less for Chicago on the first roll. 49. Nope. So now they need an 86 or higher because they're going against Montreal penalty kill. Nope. Go back to roll 3. 21 or less. Nope. And they need an 86 or higher. Nope. So they get no power play goals. So their final score is 3 goals. Montreal in the power play. 25 or less. Yes. An 8 is good for 1 power play goal. 85 or higher. Yes, that's 2 power play goals. 25 or less? Nope. 85 or higher? Yes. So Montreal comes up with 3 power play goals, and Montreal will win this one 6-3. So that's how I interpreted the rules on how to play this game. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. I really am. I don't know which mode I like the best. The third die can be a killer. The third die roll really can sway a game. So it makes it fun, but it also makes it, a little frustrating too, because you have a nice close game, and then you add 2 goals. Like, ugh. So I don't know which mode I like less. The basic mode is okay, but if I'm going to play, I'm either going to add the third die or the power play, maybe both. But anyway, that's a look at Kill the Power Play by games by Roberto Chiavini. And I encourage you guys to go to sportsreplays.net and check out some of his stuff. Just click on his name. It calls up his page. His games are really not expensive at all. Most are kind of quick play games like this. And as you can see, there's 4 different ways just to play this hockey game. It's not just a basic roll. There are some the third die, the power play, you can combine them, take one, not the other. I'm having a blast. In fact, I just played using the fourth way, the third die plus the power play. I just replayed the 70-71 Stanley Cup Finals, and Montreal took both games in Chicago. Chicago then took both games in Montreal, so the series was tied 2-2, and then Montreal won 2 games in overtime, and they won the series 4-2 in my replay. And I will be posting that on the Digital to Dice Facebook group shortly. But I wanted to show you a little visual on how to play the game. And I hope you liked it. This is a fun game. Go check this out. This is really a nice little twist on a final score type of game. So anyway, I'm Dave. I hope you enjoyed this video of Kill the Power Play, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.